yet kids still go to bed each night without food. I want to talk about instances where children go hungry and people don't even realize it. And one is children who go to school and they literally look forward to those meals in schools like lunchtime, because oftentimes that's the only meal they're going to get. Because when they go home, they're impoverished, there's food insecurity and food access issues, and they just don't have food at home. So school is the one time they can get a nutritious meal, whether it's breakfast or lunch, which is what schools serve. Well, the government decided to come up with a program called the Summer Feeding Program. The Summer Feeding Program is a program designed to fill the gaps in the summer times that are created when schools are closed. Because if school is the only time they can really get a nutritious meal or a good meal because of a financial situation and impoverishment and coming from poor household, schools are something they rely on greatly. So if they're not able to get that in school when the schools are closed in the summer, they go hungry. And that's why the U.S. government, again, came up with the summer feeding program to fill those gaps in the summertime for kids. And what the government does is, through the states, they provide funding to local communities and local, what they call vendors, who take on the responsibility of feeding kids within communities. And they call them feeding sites. And one of the requirements for these vendors get money from the federal government through the state. One of the requirements is to make sure the food is good food. It's nutritious food. They even have, regulations on portion sizes. The kids have to be able to eat in a very pleasant environment, not on a curb on the street, which I've seen that before with some vendors. And the kids also have to be of a certain age, below a certain age, before they can be offered these foods. But these feeding sites can be all over the place. They can be within community centers. They can be in apartment complexes. They can be at parks. As long as there is a table for the child to eat at, they're not in the hot sun eating, they're not in deplorable conditions, then feeding sites can pretty much be a lot of different places. For me, this program worked very well when it fell under the umbrella of churches, of religious organizations, because they're already established, and so you don't have to worry about corruption, which was, trust me, I've seen it working at the Department of Agriculture for Texas. We've seen the corruption. When the federal government gives these money to the states to get to the vendors will actually cut costs and feed the kids trash because they know that inspectors can't get out enough to catch them. They'll feed them trash, and so the remaining funds, they'll use it to buy their Teslas and their Humvees and things like that. And I'm not joking. They will use to fund their lavish lifestyles. So a lot of corruption was taking place with that. And I think the U.S. government started cracking down on it because at first it was a state crime because they figured it happened in the state, let the states deal with it. And the states dealt with it the best they could, but it was just not adequate, I think. Well, the federal government some years ago, they decided to get involved. Now they made it a federal offense. So now if you get caught being corrupt when it comes to feeding our children, you're looking at a federal offense and federal time. And they're coming down hard on them because those are federal dollars. Those are federal dollars. And so I think the summer feeding program is a great program as long as you got people with the right mindset and with the right heart and with the right intent to make sure those kids in the summertime still get the proper meals just like they would get during the school year. Now, the summer feeding program is open just about to any vendor. And it's open to a 501c3 organization, which is more kind of like volunteer organization. It has to be a private nonprofit organization. It can't be an organization where your whole mantra is you're drawing a revenue, you're making money. That's not what it's about. So I think they tend to lean more towards community volunteerism, churches, those sorts of things, entities to help push the program and help manage the program at the community level. But I think it's a great program. A lot of people are not aware of it. Certainly there is money to be made from it. Don't get me wrong. And I talk about the corruption and the people using money for other means. Well, for you to take the time out of your day to do these type of things, there needs to be some sort of incentive for you. So the government does give you some incentive. They allow you to hire staff, to pay salaries. They hire you to get anything from a bookkeeper. That's part of the cost. And just like a small business, but they want you to run it like a small business and also expect periodic check-ins or audits. And so oftentimes this is where, they get into trouble with the audits because they'll start looking at the number of kids they're supposed to be feeding, the amount of food they purchase to feed them, And nobody's stupid. They can tell that they cheating the system and they're not getting, uh, the kids are not getting the full benefits that they were intended to get because of, some people out there who choose to do, do dirt than to do work, you know. But the summer feeding program is a great program. If you're not aware of it, I'll put a link to that site at the federal level and the state level in my comments. But if you know of a child in the summertime, I know right now we're fall right now, but it's still education is key. Education is always good, no matter when you get it. If you know of children that are suffering with food insecurity, especially in the summertime, the summer food program at the federal and state level, I think will help to fill those gaps. And oh, by the way, they also have programs where they'll feed the kids in the evening times at some school location. There's a different type program where certain days of the week the kids can come in the evening time and get a meal. But those funds obviously are more limited than the funds intended for the summertime. But those resources are there, and I'm the type person, if they're there, I want to share them with the community. And I want to give one last shout out to my subscribers out there. So I'm sure y'all see me, y'all kind of figuring out, okay, which way this guy going, but trust me, everything is starting to be fine-tuned, and I just want to give you everything that I got, all the knowledge that I have. If I'm able to help somebody, I think I've done my job. I want to share resources. I want to share insight. Again, I want to steer clear of the deep politics and the deep religion, all the other things that divide people. I want to bring us together. That's what I want to do. I want to bring us together. And I think bringing us together can be successful when the topics I discussed are common among us. They're common among us. So like hunger, that's common. Everybody knows what hunger is. Everybody knows what job loss is. And so I tend to stick to the topics that are common among us. But I want to thank you, my subscribers, for hanging with me, and know that we're going to head in a really great direction. I'm going to give some really good information out there. Y'all deserve it. Y'all hit the subscribe button, and I think you deserve to get quality content from me. So with that, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. I want to touch on food insecurity and why a child should not be going hungry in America, one of the richest countries in the world. No way. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.